Hi friends, it's Sarah from Ruffles and Rain Boots. So I am going to make two items with the M1 Ultra today and the same exact design. The first is going to be a canvas wine bag and the second is going to be a flour sack towel. So if you don't have these are amazing and great for realtor gifts. If, like, let's say you're putting together a realtor package, or let's say you're sending a care package to a college student. Let's say you're bringing the dinner rolls to the Easter dinner. It doesn't really matter. These right here can act as packaging, they can act as wrapping paper, and they can act as like a bread basket towel. So we won't be engraving on the flour sack towel. We will be engraving on the canvas wine bag. But because this is so thin, we're going to use heat transfer vinyl. So this is a flock heat transfer vinyl, just means it'll be kind of fluffy and soft or whatever, but you can use regular heat transfer vinyl. So this is not the vinyl that has a sticker on the back. This carrier sheet is connected, this plasticky piece here. This, instead of being cut face up, has to be turned over and cut face down.
The first thing we need to do is
to put our base plate in, and we're going to attach the laser module. So if you're new, your laser module will just slide right into this track right here. You press it down and then you lock it in. You're ready. This right here is the base plate. So in case you have the honeycomb, I would take the honeycomb out for this particular project. So for the vinyl, you're just gonna need one of these two. So we have the deep cut blade and we have the fine point blade. You're gonna need one of those. If you only have the this right here, this is the carriage for the fine point blade, but the deep cut won't fit in there. So we'll need the multi-carriage if we want to use that. We also need to go ahead and put a piece of foil inside of our bag. And the reason we want to do that, just in case your power is a little bit more aggressive than mine.
Okay, so we're going to use some blue tape. Now, a thing about measurement, always look and see how much you're going to lose of the wine bag. So I always like to indicate where. You can either do it like this with a wine bottle in it, or you can do it like I do with math. But either way, you're just going to make sure you have some kind of marker that's your absolute zero at the bottom, so you don't go anything beyond that. Now in the system, I'm going to go ahead and connect to the M1 Ultra via Wi-Fi. You obviously have many options. And then I'm going to drag in a file. You can also go to the import file. So I'm just going to size it down. I don't know how big it's going to be yet, but I'm just getting it ready. Up here in the processing mode, you're going to want to make sure it says lasering on a flat surface. And then over here, you see I have a couple of accessories. I always recommend having the automatic air assist, and the safety pro is if you don't want to vent outside. That's optional. So for my settings, I'm actually going to choose 15, 55, 1, and 120 LPC. Now I've been running these for as long as I've had lasers. They do well, and these settings are a good medium dark, not the darkest, but also still clean, and I'll show you that in a minute. Now, if you ever try and do an auto measure, you can see I had my machine open when I turned it on, so I have to hit the start homing. It'll just tip tap on the back and on the left, and then you're ready. So we're going to go move our crosshair over the actual canvas bag, close it, and then come back up to that auto measure. The system will auto measure. You can manually measure if you want. And then once the entry is in there, we're going to go ahead and mark. We're going to choose a rectangle, even though we have a circular design, and I'm going to show you why in just a second. So you hit start marking. Now in the machine, you're going to put the crosshair wherever your top leftmost area is. I am doing the edge of my wine bag and then hitting the white button. That locks in the first vertex. Move your crosshair, go to the edge of the wine bag at the bottom right, and then hit that white button again to lock it in, close the lid. Now when you hit the white button, these two red dots appear. Once you have that, we have a rectangle, hit end marking and done, and just move your design into this space. Now we do have the ability to actually center on this space, but an old school way we used to do it is if you want to be perfectly positioned, you can actually create a rectangle, drag your design into it. Whether you have snapping on or not, you can choose those in the software settings. Whether you have snapping on or not, you see those little crosshair that appeared when I moved it? That is doing it to the area. You can also just manually size these. So here's 2.75. I just typed it in, and now you can manually position it or select the rectangle and come up to the alignment menu. So I'm just showing you in the layers panel here, I have two items, our bunny group and then the rectangle. You can do the align center, or you can horizontally and vertically align it in 2 steps. Either way, you don't need that rectangle, so I'm going to delete it. You can auto snap to the squares now, the marked area, so I just do that. So now here we have just checking our settings, and we have engraving our settings in, so we can go ahead and frame it. So framing, once this option comes up, what will happen is you hit the start button. It'll show you exactly where the actual design is going to be. If you want it to be bigger, you can make it bigger. I'm going to process. So we get an estimated time. We hit the start to send the file to the laser, and then we'll hit the start on the machine. Now I'm not going to show you everything, but because I like it, here you go. Here's a little sped up version of this bad boy getting made. Now once it's done, be careful on touching the actual engraving, and I want to show you why. I always clean right immediately in here. It's hard to see on video, but look, there's an outline of a bunny. So use whatever tape you have to just pull off that stuff, flip it over. Don't use the same piece of tape. Remove the foil and then pop in your wine glass or wine bottle, and you're done. So this is in natural light. You can see that's the darkness of it. I am happy with that, but you can go up to about 18 or 19 with a 10 watt. So while that was processing, I'm just going to come in here and choose my next file to set up. So that was my canvas wine bag. I created another canvas. I'm going to take this design and just copy and paste it into here. Now I am going to change it to blade cut because we're cutting the flock vinyl or HTV vinyl. So I'm making sure it's on fine point blade. Now one thing in here, if you cannot find any material, and watch, I'm proving to you, you can't find flock vinyl in here. You can find puff vinyl, and so you can start with these settings in your material test array. Don't go ahead and try this just leaving these settings in and going and doing your full design. First off, because we're using HTV, we have to mirror it or reflect it horizontally. Now I'm going to show you a little trick. If you have a Cricut, you already know this trick, but basically always make a cut box around it. Before you cut anything, watch this video. You're going to have to create a test array. When you can't find anything, there are smart ways to do it, which I've shared. So by the way, my outside line is going to cut at 600 pressure. That's the max. The inside line is actually going to be cutting at 150 and 50 speed. Now that's what's working for my laser. You'll have to set it up for yours as well. And the only way you're going to know is by testing. So you can see I'm going through the same steps. I'm marking. I'm not going to create a little rectangle because I don't need to. And then I'm going to position it in place. And then I just check all my settings like 3 or 4 times. And then I hit process. I have my fine point blade into that left hand housing. I processed it. I started weeding it right on the mat, but then I want to tell you, when you have little things like this, I already ripped off a piece, which you'll see. So go and take this to a flat surface. It's a little easier. So I'm going to be using the xTool small press. This is not their auto press because this is just easy to use, and a pressing pillow. On the vinyl you'll get a temperature range, and that's how you know what to set your press to. So once I have in a position, I'm going to go ahead and get all moisture out of the area that I can, and that is just with a pre-press. Once the pre-press is done, I position my item. The shiny plastic part is up. You do not take the vinyl off of that. And now we just press it per the instructions. This is going to be wicked hot. So make sure you let it cool before you start lifting it up. Now you can see that's how fast I'm going. I'm not kidding. It's a very slow process for me because I don't want to rip anything up. But I ripped something off when I weeded it. You see that down at the bottom left? Look at that. But it's so fuzzy and it's so much fun. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know down in the comments below. Let me know what you think of these projects as well. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe for more crafting fun.